Tensions are rising in Sudan as opposing groups squared off this week over who should rule the country. Supporters of a civilian-led democracy marched in the thousands through Khartoum, calling for a transition to civilian rule.
I am protesting because I want the military to hand over power to civilians. Their time is over. They have been given their chance, and now we want a purely civilian rule.
And those who support a return to military rule have been staging a sit-in outside the presidential palace.
The civilian government has failed. We want a military government to ensure the transition.
In 2019, a revolt ended Omar al-Bashir's 30-year dictatorship. Since then, Sudan has been led by a council of military and civilian leaders in a fragile transitional government. Now, civilians and the military are sitting on opposite sides. For Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, this is Sudan's worst crisis in the post-Bashir era. A month ago, the transitional government said it prevented an attempted coup. And since mid-September, demonstrators from Beja tribes have paralysed Port Sudan. They say they oppose an October 2020 peace deal between the transitional government and the three regions of Darfur, Blue Nile, and the South Kordofan, because it does not represent them. The disruption has resulted in shortages, while inflation is up by almost 400%. The situation could compromise the country's first free elections, which have already been postponed to 2023. One year on, Nigerians have not forgotten. On the anniversary of the violent police crackdown at Lekki toll gate, memorial protests were held in Lagos and Abuja. Dozens rallied in a procession of cars at the toll gate in Lagos, where the army and police opened fire on October 20th, killing at least 10 unarmed protesters.
By shooting at us, you've messed with the wrong generation. And we're not going to be silent. We're going to talk. We're going to raise our voice. They're going to hear us.
In Abuja, protesters demanded that justice finally be done.
None of the demands that led to NSAS have been met. And that also, it is important that those who have been jailed are released immediately, 300 of them or more that we know of.
Police briefly fired tear gas at Lekki, and at least 6 people were arrested.
Look here!
Did they attack you? Did they hit you?
Yes, they hit me!
The authorities have denied that security forces shot protesters and have dismissed what they call a phantom massacre. Laurent Gbagbo is making a comeback. 4 months after his return to the country, the former Ivorian president has launched a new opposition party, the African People's Party.
I will be in politics until I die.
But the 76-year-old has also alluded to ending his political career.
After this journey, it would be wise to prepare to leave. That would be wise. But I have decided that I will not leave abruptly.
So does Gbagbo intend to run in the Ivory Coast 2025 presidential election? A bill designed to limit the age of presidential candidates to 75 could crimp Gbagbo's ambitions.
It's a typically South African affair, and it's back on the road. The first spinning tournament in 2 years takes place in Alberton, southeast of Johannesburg. More than 1,000 people showed up after a long hiatus because of COVID-19. At the wheel, these spinners are looking for a thrill.
I like the adrenaline it gives me. I started on a quad bike first before I started spinning. So that's how it happened when I got into the spinning. I bought my first car, I started on the streets, and that's how we built it, and now he's doing it in an arena.
Born in the 1980s in South Africa's townships, spinning is now considered an official motorsport, though it's still attached to its underground origins.
The reason why we come here is because we got a different lifestyle. We got a different hobby. We love spinning, we love smelling smoke. That's what we love doing.
During apartheid, spinning was a gang ritual. These days, the cars are modified and maintained by their lawful owners.
People would steal cars and go celebrate in the location. So they would spin the cars, and then also during funerals as well, they would spin cars because it's the culture. It's what people love to see.
No longer limited to the townships, spinning now attracts a diverse crowd.
It comes from South Africa, but now it's international, because on a Thursday here, you get people that come from New York, Australia, wherever, to come and witness a spinning.
A handful of these drivers have become professional spinners, the road less travelled, now legitimate way for some young people to earn their living.